Hi there. Welcome to Apple World. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman have been hitched for quite a long time, which is a lifetime in Hollywood, yet before the excellence of their marriage truly came out, they needed to go through a few brutal obstacles. Something steady that guaranteed the progress of their relationship right from the good old days was the way that Keith was still up in the air to prevail upon Nicole Kidman. We should figure out how he had the option to do it. Moulin Rouge's Nicole Kidman is an astounding entertainer, with grants from the Brilliant Globe Foundation and the Emmys showing respect to her ability, her first love, and her significant other, Keith Urban, an honor-winning bluegrass performer, and a legend by his own doing. While they're both fruitful in their singular professions, their matching was still somewhat of an odd amazement as a result of how variously they appear to be separated. Yet when they're together, it's not difficult to perceive how their adoration develops and sparkles. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman's most memorable gathering was on January 15, 2005. At the yearly G-Day USA function, a blender of sorts for conspicuous and imaginative Australians and Americans, two Australian locals met on the opposite side of the world, both in exceptionally effective marks of their vocation. It was such a slick, charming scene that they met at a function, praising their local beginning anyway. The sentiment wouldn't be created until a lot later, enlightening Oprah regarding their most memorable gathering. Keith said, "I promise to you." She coasted across the room and drifted. I don't have any idea how she did it. It was mind-blowing, and there was a part second where she wasn't with anyone. "I thought I'd simply go up and say greetings," he said. Hey, they clicked in a flash, and their association was common, yet they didn't think so. Their romantic tale ought to have gotten up to speed, yet it didn't. He didn't connect with her for a really long time. All the more precisely, he didn't reach her for quite some time after that first time they met. Evidently, neither of them thought the other party was intrigued in spite of their science. Nicole told Ellen that I assumed I had eyes for him, and he wasn't keen on me. "I'm as you didn't adore me from the outset. You didn't see me, and he resembles yes, I did. Yet I simply didn't let on, and afterward, around 4 months after the fact, he called me." Keith Urban was most certainly intrigued, and he before long started to show his assurance to seek after a relationship with her. A couple of months after they began dating, Keith chose to surprise Nicole with a motion that was persevering to the point that it guaranteed her that he was the one at her 38th birthday celebration in June 2006. Keith made an appearance at Nicole's loft in New York at 5 a.m. He was remaining on her stoop holding gardenias, and she realized he was the one. Nicole let individuals know that at that time, that is the point at which I went. This is the man I want to believe that I get to marry. It was really extraordinary. I accepted that by that point, he was my first love. Perhaps that is on the grounds that I am profoundly heartfelt, or I'm an entertainer, or I have major areas of strength for myself. However, I just accepted graciousness. Okay, here he is. She reviewed it with Jimmy Fallon. He sat on the stoop of my New York condo. I came out. It was 5 a.m. in the first part of the day, and it was my birthday, and he had blossoms. That was all there was to it. I was a goner. I'm similar, yes. I'll add you. It was an incredible romantic tale, and it's really easy to perceive how Keith had the option to deeply inspire Nicole by June 2006. Keith Urban was hitched to Nicole Kidman, yet their difficulties were not up to this point. Almost 4 months after their heartfelt wedding, Nicole and Keith confronted a challenge that would have split a few couples up. Keith Urban has been open about his battles with enslavement. Yet in those days, he was all the while going through the terrible pattern of recovery, recuperation, and backslide. In October 2006, Nicole Kidman needed to stage a mediation for her better half. Keith Urban needed to burn through 90 days at an ongoing restoration office for fixation. Their marriage was currently at an exceptionally delicate point. They were in the special first night stage, so to talk. However, it was a test that they needed to explore, and it would end up being something that could represent the moment of truth in their marriage in 2016. 10 years after Keith Urban addressed Drifter about that delicate time in his marriage with Nicole Kidman, "I caused the collapse of my new marriage." Fixation is an issue that most families in the superstar spotlight need to manage, and for the new couple, it was a definitive test. Keith was focused on his recuperation, and the primary explanation was a result of Nicole going on in his meeting with the Drifter. He added that it was due, and it's a wonder it was accomplished without precedent for my life. I could shake off the shackles of habit for a few tunes and a lifetime together later. Nicole and Keith currently have 2 girls. Sunday, Rose Kidman Urban, who was brought into the world in July 2008, and Confidence Margaret Kidman Urban, brought into the world in December 2010. The couple gush on their youngsters, yet Nicole has made sense of that. Her Baroness battles are the main thing that prevented her from having more kids with her better half, as she told Vogue, "I want to have met Keith significantly sooner and had much more kids with him, yet I did it. I mean, if I would have had 2 additional youngsters with him, that would have been recently radiant, yet Nicole and Keith have all that to be grateful for through dependent sadness, and their battles 2 or 3 has kept an unadulterated center upheld by the affection they have for one another. In 2014, after the demise of her dad, Nicole let Ellen know the amount of help Keith had been to her. He has been so great to me for quite some time, however, for the last kind of month, which possesses truly extreme energy for me. When you have your accomplice who just in a real sense brings you through a difficult stretch, he's been astounding to me to have my better half move forward in that manner. It makes me cry. He's astounding. I will keep him. I'll do anything for that man." Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban crushed the chances and picked their affection first. They dealt with their difficulties and came out more grounded. That is a definitive objective. Do you believe there's a more profound association among Keith and Nicole in view of their common beginning? How do you think they oversee consistency?